Emily, my sister-in-law, was pregnant. My mother treated her like royalty, something I hadn't witnessed in over 20 years. She prepared Emily's favorite dishes and catered to her every whim. With just a glance from Emily, my mother would serve her the food. She waited patiently for Emily to finish eating, then looked at her with a warm, almost doting smile, as if she were already cradling her grandchild.
Glances at Anna with cold eyes and a smile that doesn't reach her eyes.
My mother instantly understood. She picked up some fish, which I detested, and placed it on my plate. Her lips curled slightly, but her eyes were devoid of warmth.
Anna, didn't you recently buy a house in the city center? It would be perfect for your brother as a wedding gift.
I bought it myself. Why should I give it to him?
My mother's eyes filled with disdain.
Emily is carrying our family's future. How can you be so heartless?
Ridiculous. Your own children might not even take care of you in old age, and you expect your grandson to? Prevention is better than cure, I say. Why should I?
I stood up abruptly, looking down at them.
I'm pregnant too.
It was true. My boyfriend, Lucas, and I had been together for 6 months, but I hadn't dared to tell my parents. In the past, whenever I brought a boyfriend home, they either found fault with him or complained about his salary. The window was half open, letting in a chill. The rain pattered on the windowsill, accompanied by occasional thunderclaps. The room fell silent, the air stifling and hard to breathe. My mom slammed her chopsticks down. Her face was calm, but her eyes flashed with a sharp, cold light. My dad kicked my chair away, laughing derisively as if he'd heard the biggest joke in the world. Their eyes were all on me.
What did you just say? You're pregnant?
Yes, I'm pregnant.
Get rid of it. You're a disgrace.
Unmarried and pregnant? Get rid of it immediately. How dare you say such a shameful thing?
Why is Emily's out-of-wedlock pregnancy a family honor, but mine is a disgrace?
My child is Andrew's. Yours would be illegitimate.
Mom, Dad, I've been in a relationship for 6 months. I want to get married.
Married?
My dad's voice was deep and slow, each word seeming to take great effort. It gave the impression that you should listen carefully to every word he said.
Marriage is fine, but we need a dowry of $500,000 in a house.
Emily chimed in with a contemptuous smile.
Yes, otherwise, no marriage.
I can live in this house with my boyfriend.
Isn't your house Andrew's house? 500,000 yuan and a house, or don't even think about it.
Why should my house go to my brother? You've never been fair since I was a child. And now, you want to give what's mine to someone else.
Yes! If you can't do it, don't get married!
Mom, how much can you give me for my dowry?
Mom, exasperated, shot back with a cold retort.
Just take 2 quilts to your new room. That should last you and your husband for decades.
My heart felt as if it was being tightly gripped, then ruthlessly torn out and thrown into the freezing snow.
Yes! If you can't manage that, just terminate the pregnancy. That man can't provide for you anyway.
Andrew doesn't have a house either.
You're about to become an aunt. Shouldn't you give the house to your nephew? What use does a woman have for a house? Don't let some man trick you out of it, or you'll have nothing left to cry over.
At this point, Dad's voice emerged, showing a hint of impatience.
Without the dowry, you must terminate the pregnancy and break up with that useless man.
Impossible!
Can my relationship with Lucas be ended just like that? Emily's child can be born with everyone's expectations, while my child receives no concern at all.
Anna, you should terminate the pregnancy. That man can't give you a future.
I remained silent, trying to pull her away from me.
Anna, who will take care of your child if you have it? Your dad and I will be busy taking care of Emily's child. And with the cost of living so high now, can you even afford it?
Ridiculous. Dad is now a loafer. Mom works as a cleaner for others. My brother washes cars. They are living in the house I bought. I still give Dad and Mom living expenses every month. But I know they give all the money to my brother. Everything is a lie. Only the house was real. The cash in the wallet was real. At that moment, Mom took advantage of my distraction and pushed me towards the window. Her eyes were filled with contempt and loathing. How could she be so cruel? Was I not her biological daughter? After my passing, they claimed I had threatened to harm myself to make them agree to let me keep the child, and then accidentally fell out of the window. They happily lived in my house, while my child was unjustly lost. They felt no remorse. I was unwilling. Then I was reborn. Reborn an hour before my death. This time, I wouldn't let them have their way. I steadied myself against the wall and forcefully pushed Mom away. I escaped to the door. At that moment, Dad emerged from the kitchen with a knife.
Anna, if you dare to have this child, you can forget about having me as your father.
My brother immediately pretended to hold Dad's hand.
Dad, put the knife down. Don't hurt yourself over this worthless person.
If you want to have the child, transfer the house to Andrew. If you want to get married, bring another 500,000 yuan. Otherwise, don't even think about it.
Their calculations were so loud that even the heavens could hear them.
What if I don't agree?
If you don't agree, I'll disown you.
His voice was filled with disdain.
Fine, I'll publish an announcement tomorrow, severing our father-daughter relationship. And this house, I bought it myself. I have the purchase records and the property deed. This house has nothing to do with you. Move out immediately.
Dad, holding the knife, trembled and screamed, his eyes filled with crazed hatred and despair, tears streaming down.
You ungrateful wretch!
Anna, transfer the house to Andrew, and you'll still be my daughter.
When I died in my previous life, why didn't you consider me your daughter then? When there's a house, I'm your daughter.
Impossible, absolutely impossible.
The tension in the room was palpable as the family gathered in the living room.
Scoffing, why is Emily's out-of-wedlock pregnancy a family honor, but mine is a disgrace?
My child is Andrew's. Yours would be illegitimate.
Mom, Dad, I've been in a relationship for 6 months. I want to get married.
Married? Marriage is fine, but we need a dowry of 500,000 and a house.
I scoffed, my voice tinged with bitterness.
Why is Emily's out-of-wedlock pregnancy a family honor, but mine is a disgrace?
Emily seemed infuriated, her eyes narrowing.
My child is Andrew's. Yours would be illegitimate.
I took a deep breath and turned to my parents.
Mom, Dad, I've been in a relationship for 6 months. I want to get married.
My dad's voice was deep and slow, each word seeming to take great effort.
Married? Marriage is fine, but we need a dowry of 500,000 and a house.
The tension in the room was palpable. I couldn't help but scoff.
Why is Emily's out-of-wedlock pregnancy a family honor, but mine is a disgrace?
My child is Andrew's. Yours would be illegitimate.
Mom, Dad, I've been in a relationship for 6 months. I want to get married.
My father's voice was deep and slow, each word demanding attention.
Married? Marriage is fine, but we need a dowry of 500,000 and a house.
The next day, I picked up my phone and casually browsed through Weibo. The top trending topics were a nightmare.
Anna abandons parents, leaving them homeless.
She's ungrateful hashtag.
She had an affair with her boss and found a scapegoat hashtag.
She stole the jewelry given to me by our parents and slapped my brother hashtag.
Ridiculous! Are you holding a press conference? Lying next to me, Lucas was awakened by my actions. Last night, I went to Lucas's place because I couldn't stand being in that place any longer.
What's wrong?
I'm trending.
I clicked on the video, and the first thing I saw was Andrew and Emily, their faces swollen, answering reporters' questions. Meanwhile, my parents were crying their hearts out beside them. Their eyes were red and swollen from crying, pounding the ground in silent accusation of my actions towards them.
Anna, the daughter I raised with so much effort, kicked us out of the house she bought after becoming an executive. Heaven and earth, I raised her to this age, and she wouldn't even give us a place to stay. She even stole all the jewelry we gave to Emily.
They really know how to twist the truth. My dad was smoking continuously beside them, his eyes filled with a lifeless emotion. Scrolling down, there were millions of comments. Without exception, they were all cursing me.
When do you plan to release the evidence?
Let the public opinion simmer a bit longer.
Public opinion is a double-edged sword. Since they dared to use it, they shouldn't be afraid of the backlash.
Someone must be helping them this time. Otherwise, with their capabilities, they wouldn't be able to stir up such a storm on Weibo.
And I intend to expose that person. When I returned to the company, Mr. Smith called me into his office. I had worked my way up from the bottom through my own efforts, and it took me 8 years to become a senior executive. Many people were envious of me. But the one most eager to see me fail was indeed someone specific, my rival, David.
Serious. Anna, what's going on with the trending topic online?
Ever since the topic went viral, the company's stock had plummeted.
Serious, Mr. Smith, I need some time.
Hopeful. Anna, I was the one who promoted you. Although this issue has clearly affected the company's interests and image, which would typically warrant dismissal, I believe you can resolve this matter.
I couldn't help but feel touched.
Relieved, Mr. Smith, I just need 3 days. In 3 days, I can turn the public opinion around.
Hopeful. Good child, I believe in you.
Holding the plan Mr. Smith had given me, I left the office and immediately ran into David.
Unfriendly. Good morning, Executive Chen. I never thought you were such a person, even abandoning your parents. By the way, when are you resigning? I'd like to see you off. We've been old friends for so long.
Cheerful, Mr. Johnson, no need to trouble yourself.
With that, I walked away proudly in my high heels. Back home, I immediately arranged for my assistant Lily to investigate who had orchestrated my parents' participation in the media interview. At that moment, Lucas called.
Serious, Anna, the paternity test results are out. You and your mother, Mary, are not biologically related.
No wonder in the previous life, she could push me down the stairs without batting an eye. It turned out I wasn't her daughter at all. My phone buzzed with a message from assistant Lily.
Serious. Anna, through the surveillance downstairs at your home, I saw your parents being picked up by Mr. Johnson's assistant and taken to his place. He then arranged for reporters to interview them, promising them 1 million yuan if they could tarnish your reputation.
Our company was currently recruiting partners, and both Mr. Johnson and I were suitable candidates, but there was only one spot. In company tasks, I always outshone him, so he came up with this plan to smear me and elevate himself. On the third day, today was the peak of public opinion. They still pointed at the camera like clowns.
Angry, it's truly chilling, daring to harm one's own parents. If she remains a senior executive at Xie An Group, who knows how many people she will endanger in the future? She's a disgrace to society, a shame to humanity.
Angry, a family misfortune, a family misfortune. It's a disgrace to the Chen family.
Angry, we raised her through university with great effort, and after she started earning money, she didn't give us a single cent, didn't know what filial piety was, and even kicked us out of her house. She even learned to steal from our daughter-in-law.
Angry, do you think Anna has some kind of mental illness?
I uploaded recordings and surveillance footage from the neighbors to my registered Weibo account. The video showed Dad accidentally hurting himself while running. I also posted records of the support payments I regularly sent to my parents, the payments for the hardware store, and the records of me working part-time to earn tuition fees since high school. The once arrogant netizens were instantly silenced. I scoffed at the absurdity of it all.
Why is Emily's out-of-wedlock pregnancy a family honor, but mine is a disgrace?
My child is Andrew's. Yours would be illegitimate.
I turned to my parents, determined to make my case.
Mom, Dad, I've been in a relationship for 6 months. I want to get married.
Married?
His voice was deep and slow, each word deliberate and weighty.
Marriage is fine, but we need a dowry of 500,000 and a house.
I scoffed, my voice dripping with sarcasm.
Why is Emily's out-of-wedlock pregnancy a family honor, but mine is a disgrace?
Emily's face turned red with anger.
My child is Andrew's. Yours would be illegitimate.
I turned to my parents, trying to keep my voice steady.
Mom, Dad, I've been in a relationship for 6 months. I want to get married.
My father's voice was deep and slow, each word deliberate.
Married?
He paused, as if weighing each syllable.
Marriage is fine, but we need a dowry of 500,000 and a house.
Monday was the day the news about the partners of the Xie An Group would be announced. Mr. Johnson was already dispirited, as netizens had exposed him as the mastermind behind recent events. He endured daily online abuse, and his face showed noticeable signs of fatigue.
Both Mr. Chen and Mr. Johnson were promoted by me. Over the years, their contributions to the company have been evident to all. However, the recent online rumors were unexpected, and it turns out Mr. Johnson was the main culprit.
Mr. Johnson wanted to defend himself but didn't know where to start, so he just stared at his shoes.
I believe that for Xie An Group to grow from nothing, it requires not just talent and ability, but also unity among its members. We need to grow together, not scheme against each other. Therefore, our board has decided to dismiss Mr. Johnson. Mr. Chen will officially become the youngest partner on the board. Let's give him a round of applause.
My hands trembled with excitement. I had finally reached my moment of glory, becoming a shareholder in the company. Mr. Johnson fainted from the news, but the law would not show leniency because of his condition. Justice might be delayed, but it would never be absent. I shared the news with Lucas.
I knew my wife could do it.
Who's your wife?
Since we're so happy today, why not choose this day to get our marriage certificate?
Recently, I heard they went to my house to cause trouble again. But I had already sold the house. The buyer, seeing the family crying and making a scene, couldn't bear it and directly called the police after giving them a beating. They suspected I had hired actors to force me out of hiding. They even threatened to harm my mother and unborn child, but the buyer, fed up, broke my mom's leg and warned them that if they came back, they would be beaten until they miscarried. Sarah, taking advantage of her pregnancy, was terrified by the threats and rushed to the hospital. They would spend the rest of their lives in wheelchairs. The sunlight gilded the earth, and the air was crisp and sweet. On my wedding day, I wore the wedding dress of my dreams. It was a blend of classical style with a touch of modernity, featuring lace patterns from the neckline to the hem in a radiating gradient design, making my proportions look perfect. The Swarovski crystals on the chest caught everyone's eye. The fluffy, cloud-like softness of the dress exuded a sense of sanctity and ceremony. I straightened my back, holding Mother's hand, and walked towards Lucas. Lucas wore an Italian suit with black and gold embroidery, combining classic design with modern elements. We stood together, a match made in heaven.
Lucas, do you take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife, to have and to hold, in sickness and in health, for richer or poorer, for as long as you both shall live?
I do.
Anna, do you take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband, to have and to hold, in sickness and in health, for richer or poorer, for as long as you both shall live?
I do.
He embraced me and kissed me tenderly, stirring my heart. On this joyous day, my foster parents certainly wouldn't miss such a good opportunity.
Mr. Smith, there are people outside claiming to be Emily's parents wanting to attend the wedding. We've stopped them.
I'll
go.
At the hotel entrance, Dad was pushing Mom in a wheelchair, both dressed in bright red. As soon as they saw me, they started gesticulating wildly.
If you have something to say it here.
Daughter, today is your big day. Why didn't you invite us? Let us in to have a meal and meet the in-laws.
She reached out to grab my hand to pull me into the hotel. At that moment, Mother came out and interrupted her. Mom's eyes, filled with hatred, stopped when she saw Mother dressed in a glamorous red cheongsam.
Anna, don't bother with them. Let's go inside and toast, shall we?
She tried to take my hand and leave.
This must be the mother-in-law? The two kids are getting married, and we haven't even met.
What does their marriage have to do with you? What does Anna's wedding have to do with you?
Anna is my daughter. Her wedding is certainly my business.
Anna, I still need to walk you down the aisle and hand you over to the groom.
By the time you get there, the flowers will have wilted. No need for you. I'll be walking Anna down the aisle.
That's not proper. What if you mistreat her after she's married into your family?
Mistreat her? That's laughable. Who was it that publicly smeared their own daughter online? Who said Anna was a murderer? Who called her a thief?
There's no overnight grudge in a family. Since the kids are getting married, let's let bygones be bygones. Today is Anna's big day. Let's not argue here.
Since today is a joyous day, don't ruin it for us. Meeting you today is my final act of kindness. Please don't appear in my life again.
As soon as I finished speaking, her face darkened.
How can this be? I'm your mother. What about your dowry? I was counting on you to support us in our old age.
As expected, they were here for my dowry. I pulled Mother's hand and started to leave. Mom, clawing and screaming, seemed like she wanted to grab our hair. The bodyguard behind Mother immediately blocked her attack. Like a towering mountain, he isolated all the surrounding noise and chaos.
Don't ever appear before me again. What you're experiencing now is what you deserve. I will have my new life, and if you dare to disturb it, I'll make sure you can never speak again.
From now on, I will embrace my new life. Walking along the path of life, reaping what I sow, I suddenly saw a fiery red ahead. Some say marriage is a woman's second birth. Born once, married once. I had no choice in my birth, but this marriage is my decision. I trust my judgment. They are my new family, chosen by me. They cherish and love me. I will walk forward with them, without looking back. Under the white and blue sky, adorned by the setting sun, the sky's colors deepened, light purple, dark purple, deep blue.